Welcome in, Soul Family. Thanks for being here with me today. I have some notes. I have a lot that I want to integrate into today's conversation. And the notes just help me keep myself on track for you. So, wow. Anyways, I just want to start by saying that the last few weeks has been really intense. So, if you've been feeling that intensity, no surprise there, first of all. And every year, for me personally, the 4th of July is a huge, I guess, spiritual upgrade, I would call it. Learning experience, however you want to view it. It's a lot of integration. It's a lot of freedom integration, which is spiritual liberation. And so that's what I want to talk about today, because this is something that, especially as a collective, we are all tied into this together. We are all moving into this deeper sense of freedom. And not just on the level of as a country, but as people. So it's really multifaceted. And this is a process we are all learning, we're all going through together. Because I really believe that we are all in a process where we are deeper, going into ourselves in order to ascend. And so the 4th of July, this is really a time of liberation from the illusion that fear has any relevance in our life. And fear is limitation. Fear is restriction. Fear is the illusion that we are all submersed in. That is the main polarity. Fear versus love. And we see polarity, of course, in so many different ways in our world. But ultimately, freedom is love. And freedom is really liberation from that fear. Because love dissolves fear. And so, me personally, like I said, I went through a huge process of really integrating, learning the same thing, right? Because we're all learning on multiple levels all the time. And none of us are excluded from this. None of us are better than another. And none of us, even though we may think we know more, we still are all in this together, and we are all learning. And so really today I'm kind of tying it in what I've learned on a personal level over this last 4th of July into, it really does tie into the collective, because the microcosm, which is our personal place of where we are, ties into the macro. And the macrocosm is the collective, is God as a whole. There's so many aspects to that. But the micro does tie into the macro. And so I want to tie this in today because what I've learned and integrated in this last couple of weeks has been so profound. And there's so much here to unpack. It actually is almost confusing. But when you look at it from a lens of simplicity, it really isn't. So it really ties into, America as a country. We broke free from the British monarchy due to taxes and restrictions. And we broke free from that, but now we're doing it to ourselves on the on a little different level, but we're still doing this to ourselves. Restrictions, conditions. And are we really free when we're imposing conditions upon each other? Because that's what this country was founded on. And as a collective, I think we're learning this right now. There's not liberation in conditions and restrictions. And there has to be a place where you come into unity. And this ties in for me on a personal level. It's with the people that we love because we are mirrors to each other. And if we are open to learning and seeing truth, we learn so much from each other. And this is what I learned over this last few weeks, is really coming to that place within myself and not learning to not love from a place of fear, learning to love from a place of freedom and expansion. And this is so freaking hard sometimes as humans when we have to learn these lessons and embody them, because it is not easy. There's a lot as humans that we don't see within ourselves. So that is why the importance of the people around us to be those mirrors, to show us those truths that we need to see. And what I learned was I was still loving with condition. And ultimately, our goal, right, is to love without condition, to love fully unconditionally. And that's hard because we always think that, we know things, right? We've experienced things, so we want to share those things that we think we know, that we have experienced, because we think that we're going to help another by showing them that this is what I've learned. Sort of like I'm doing with you here now. Because I'm not forcing it upon anyone. They can turn the video off. They can decide what their own truth is. But my point is, when we're loving from that perspective, we're offering something, we're putting something out there that perhaps that other person didn't ask for. So in a sense, even if we're not forcing it, we are saying, I love you, but Or I will love and accept you if, and that's not really love. That is loving from a place of fear. And sometimes, well, really all the time, that's really difficult to see within yourself when you are doing something with limitation. And most of the time, because it's ingrained, we have learned this growing up. We have learned this from our family. We've learned this from society. There's always conditions. When you love someone, it's like, I love you, but you have to do this. Right? There's always these things that we attach to the parameters of our love. And that's what I want to talk about, the liberation from all of those conditions, parameters. So really, we're going from a place of attachment to a place of detachment, a place of allowing, a place of not allowing to a place of allowing. And that's really difficult. That is really a difficult thing to evolve out of, to see. We have to come to a place of, like I said, the fear, loving with fear, is limiting, it's constricting. It's not expansion. And loving someone unconditionally, right? Because that's the opposite. Loving someone unconditionally is really truly loving with freedom, loving with truth, and loving with compassion. And we're all mirrors of truth for each other. And so through this interaction within my family, with my family members, I was able to see in myself that I wasn't fully loving unconditionally. I was loving still from a place of fear and limitation. And that means not only was I loving them from a place of fear and limitation, but I'm also loving myself in that same way from a place of fear and limitation. So, our true journey through this is to see the mirror that another person holds for us, discover the truth, and then embody that truth. Really become that new version of self, become that new truth that you have discovered. And that's not always easy. That's, you can also see it, and then a lot of times you can ignore it again. That is easy to do. It's a place of comfort. It's a pattern. It can be addiction. It can show up in so many different ways. And so seeing and being able to detach, it seems weird to say that love is detachment, because that's really not what we're taught. We're taught that we're so deeply attached when we love. And it's that detachment. That detachment is where we truly find the freedom. And not just for ourselves, but for everyone. And Another aspect that I want to touch on before I close this out is that coming into unity, right? We come into unity from a place of knowing, really, I guess, that we can both be right, that we can all be right. We do live in a world of duality, and that is how we learn. And I want to show you the card that I didn't randomly pull this card today, but I purposely pulled this card today, the Mountain card. And this card, even though it is so simple, what this shows us is so profound. This is a reminder. And, you know, these are things, I need these reminders too. Everyone does. We all need these reminders. I don't know where the saying came from, but there's a saying that talks about how the mountain is one mountain, but it has 7 sides to this mountain, or multiple sides, right? And every perspective that the viewer looks at this mountain from is different, very, very different. But each one of those perspectives is true. And that is what is so hard for us to remember as humans, because we have our perspective and we think that's the right perspective. And it is, it can be. But when you go to the opposite side of that mountain, and it doesn't even have to be the opposite side, any different perspective, if you take 3 steps over, it's a little different perspective. And they are all reflecting the truth to you. They are all true. They are all the same mountain. And when we can really evolve to that place where we see that truth, not only in ourselves, but in others, in those that we love and care about, both can exist and fold into the other. And this is where unity comes in. This is where the whole comes in. This is where the fragments are gone, because that's what we often live in, fragments of self. And when we can fully integrate those different perspectives and truths, that is where real freedom happens. So really, that's what I wanted to share today. That, you know, take away from it what you will. I'm still integrating pieces of this. It's been intense what I've been going through. And I mean intense in the sense of when you really look truthfully into the world around you and what it is showing you constantly via people in your lives, via experiences, circumstances. There is so much truth to be found there and integrated. And that's not an easy process. So I just want you to have compassion for yourself, compassion for others, because we are all trying to integrate our own truth of the mountain and each other's truths of the mountain. so that we can bring the view into a whole perspective. Sort of reminds me of, I don't know if cameras really still have it, like the panorama, and you can take multiple pictures and then blend it all into one. And that's what it makes me think of. And that's what we have to do, work together in a place of freedom, from a place of freedom and love, unconditional love, to bring unity, to bring truth and true freedom and true liberation from fear. So, seemingly a little heavy today. It's not heavy, it's a great thing. It's just a lot to incorporate. It is something that I think if we can all really work to incorporate this into our own lives, really the peace that can come forth from this, profound. So, anyways, I just want to send you all so much love. I hope this made sense for you. I hope this landed, because truly, love without freedom, and that includes love for everyone, love for our neighbors, love for our friends, love for our family. Love without freedom is conditional, and it's rooted in fear. And that doesn't feel good. To be loved from that place, that is not allowing for expansion and truth and unity. So let's all work to make this something that we're integrating into our own lives on a daily basis. And like I was saying earlier, have compassion, not only for the other people involved or persons or circumstances or situation, but also have compassion for yourself, because we're all learning. And these are reminders we need it every single day. So I love you so, so much. Remember the many perspectives of the mountain and the truth of the whole. And I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here today. And until next time.